just like the suds on top. Just like the suds on top. Gonna ride, 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 ride.
Good evening, I'm Ian Butler, and welcome to Wavelength, the show where we talk to local people about local issues and sometimes worldwide issues, in the hope of getting everybody a little bit more on the same wavelength. Tonight's an interesting show. We have a guest that is, I don't even know how to describe him because he has so many things that he does. I went on his Wikipedia page and got a list of like 10 topics we could talk about. We'll try to talk about all of them, I don't know. But anyhow, the guest is a guy by the name of Hank Pellissier. Welcome to the show, Hank.
Great to see you again, Ian.
It's been a long time.
It's been 15 years, I figured out.
15 years, wow,
Yeah.
Well, normally my show is about the guest almost exclusively, but I'm going to start with a little monologue because I got to tell the viewers a little story. Mm-hmm. So you had a comedy club.
Hyena Comedy Institute. Hank Hyena was my stage name, so I named it after me.
Of course, well, and Hyena, that's a great name. Yeah, so you had the comedy thing and you had a funny song contest. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for that funny song contest, this show would not exist. And the reason is I enrolled in that contest. There were 36 contestants, and I, strangely enough, won that. I won the $100 prize.
I think that was my money. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well thanks. But I took that money then. Oh, by the way, first of all, the song that I won was called "Stripper with a Hemorrhoid." So this all began with a song called "Stripper with a Hemorrhoid." And I took that $100 and I learned that you were giving comedy classes there. And so I took the class and ended up putting on a couple of performances where we call it the Funny Song All-Stars. We put on these productions there. And then I thought, we could do that same thing here at that TV station by my house. And that was when I got the idea to do Laugh Locally, which I did 42 episodes of Laugh Locally, right in this room here. And then that got to be a bit much, so I started doing political shows. So it's because of that show, that funny song contest, that we have this show here going on all these years later. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think there were something like 85 Hyena Comedy Institute shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the course of 5 years, there were a lot of shows.
Yeah, well, I must have.
Was your performance in the Double Play? Do you remember?
The Double Play?
That's a bar like in the Mission District.
No, it's upstairs above the Bikram yoga thing.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes.
It would start getting really hot in the studio.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Why is it so hot? Then I found out there's a hot yoga downstairs.
We were in the Double Play for a long time, and it just burned down last week.
Really?
Yes. So
really?
Those days are over. Yeah.
Oh, that's really a trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so comedy is the least of what we're actually here to talk about, because so Hank here is a humanist. We'll go into what that is. He's also a transhumanist. We'll go into what that is. And very interestingly, you are one of the only people that maybe I know of that anyone knows of that has started an orphanage in Africa that is
atheist.
An
yes.
atheist orphanage.
Yes.
Yes.
We started the world's first atheist orphanage.
Well, I think let's start with that then. Tell me, how did you do that?
It was 2015, and I had started. I was the managing director of a transhumanist think tank in Connecticut. And then I left because I wanted to start my own think tank. It was called Brighter Brains Institute.
Brighter Brains.
Brighter Brains Institute, because I had written a book called Brighter Brains, 223 Ways to Elevate or Injure IQ. So I was trying to sell the book, but also have this think tank to do that. But I quickly learned that the funnest thing to do with the think tank was to raise money for like projects, in places like Africa. So I had this friend named Zoltan Isfan, who's an interesting character. He actually ran for president twice.
I've heard that name.
Yes, he ran for president twice. Once as a transhumanist party candidate, and once as a Republican candidate, and he also ran for governor as a libertarian. But at the time, he was a journalist writing for Vice Motherboard or something like that.
Okay.
And I said, and we were talking. He was a militant atheist like me for a variety of reasons. And we decided we would start the world's first atheist orphanage. And the reason we decided to do that was that I read on Reddit once, there was an argument between Christians and atheists, where the Christian was saying, what have atheists ever done that's good? Have you ever heard of an atheist orphanage? Of course not, ha ha ha. So I thought, oh, we'll be the first. We'll start an atheist orphanage. So Zoltan Isvan wrote an article, and we launched this atheist orphanage in Uganda.
Wow.
And the article was launched simultaneously with a GoFundMe. So we raised like $30,000 in like 24 hours, and then we just let it keep dripping in. And I've been running off that email list ever since. So we're about
Uganda. Now, isn't that that's where they like kill you for being
for being gay?
Yeah,
that's a whole story.
I mean, that's a tough. Did they even know that you were an atheist organization? Or use the term humanist?
Yes, and one reason we use the word humanist is because atheist is not a popular term to use.
They don't kill you for being an atheist, but they also don't feed you.
Right.
Whatever. It sounds like it would be.
I mean,
rough.
I actually wanted it to be called atheist, but I have a board of directors, and we took a vote, and our name now is Humanist Global Charity.
Humanist
so
Global
that's
Charity.
a non-offensive kind of name.
I think we have the website there, and people can go there, right? And
They
donate.
can donate as much money as they want.
Yeah.
It's a free world.
No, that's a great purpose.
We got a lot going on right now. We have 4 projects going on in Myanmar, which is super fun. A lot of these are fun because...
Do you get to go to these places then?
I've been to Uganda 3 times.
Yeah.
I have not been to Myanmar. What's fun is trying to get money to these people.
Yeah.
Like in Myanmar, we can't send money to Myanmar, but I can send it to Thailand, and then they cross the border and get it. And I hope I'm not getting anybody in trouble. And we have a secret school in Afghanistan, which is really fun. And guess how we get money to Afghanistan?
Smuggle it.
Bitcoin wallet.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh,
because
wow.
that's non-traceable. So we can get money, and we have a secret school in Afghanistan.
I was thinking maybe you had to smuggle it in like body cavities, but I'm glad that this is better.
You're making me feel so boring.
Yeah.
We'll do that next time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure you can roll those hundreds really tight.
Ian Butler's idea. Okay.
Okay, so you have them in Myanmar and in Uganda. Any other places?
We have it in 17 countries.
17 countries. Wow.
Uganda, Nigeria, Zambia, Tanzania, Kenya, that's Africa, and Morocco. And then we have India, which is my favorite probably, and Nepal, Bangladesh, which is a little tricky, and Myanmar, the Philippines, and Sri Lanka. And Mexico, starting next month.
Well, wow. So
Yeah.
it's still
It doesn't
growing.
mean that we're very big. We're very small. Like some of these countries only get like $150 a month. So we're not that,
Oh, I
we're not
see.
that
Okay.
big. We do have some...
But the Uganda one's pretty well happening, right?
They have gotten more money than anybody else for the entire 10 years. Yeah, we've probably raised about $1 million total
Wow.
in the last 10 years, something like that.
That's really great. Well, I'm going to be
Donating.
Yeah, I'm going to be, sharing this with all my godless heathen friends. We're going to be donating to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you call it the Humanist Global Charity,
Right.
and tell us what humanism is. A lot of people don't know that term.
Yes. Well, I think the term humanism, it kind of came out of humanism. The opposite would be deism, which means you believe that life on earth is sort of dictated by gods or God. Deism, that gods sort of control our life. So I think that the essence of humanism is a belief that human beings can control their own destiny. So that and this is interesting in Africa. Like in Africa, there's an incredible amount of superstition around religion.
Sure.
Like here's one tiny example. In this village called Kanunga, there's this belief that if you want to get a good grade on a test, if you're a kid studying, all you have to do is leave your pencil in a church overnight. Right? Isn't that stupid? So
I don't have to study. I left my pencil in church.
So a humanist would never do that. They
Yeah.
would never believe that anything other than your own agency is going to make you successful. So, and there's still a lot of parts in Africa where if people decide they want their business to prosper, they're going to go to church and pray, but some a humanist African might just download a book and read it on how to build your business better.
Do a
something like
concrete act.
that. Yes.
So, but
yes.
and so humanism is a movement, right? It's kind of like a replacement for religion in a way, right? It's a way to have the same things that religion has without the trappings of the supernatural. Would you say?
Yeah, I don't think it's all that different. It all kind of means you're an atheist. So the term isn't that different from atheist or secularist or free thinker
but I
or
think,
something.
I think atheist, all that means is that you don't believe in gods. But a
Exactly.
humanist does have more to it than that, right? There's a set of values involved.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Taking care of the planet and life. And
Right.
I kind of don't like the term humanist because it seems human-centric. I would rather call it lifist. You know?
Lifist?
But it's, or whatever, that's a stupid term, but
I like the term free thinker.
free thinkers are great, yeah.
I like that,
Yeah.
but that's a little 19th century. It's a little old-fashioned, but I do like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, we have alliances all over the world with different organizations. We're allied with Burmese atheists in Myanmar, for example. In Nepal, we're allied with Atheist Republic Nepal and Secular Humanists of Nepal. So we're allied with both people that define themselves as humanists and as atheists. So we work with, any of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so that's humanism.
Yes.
Now there's this other word.
The transhumanism that
And
you're
that's the
so
weird-
interested in.
When I tell people about that, they're
more,
like,
more
"Cuckoo, cuckoo."
controversial.
Yeah.
I get hated on a bit for
Yeah.
transhumanism.
Yeah.
Not readily
Well,
adored.
it does sound fascinating. So fill the people in on just what transhumanism is all about.
Well, there's other words for transhumanism as well. One term is, when I first started being in transhumanism, I was writing for a magazine called H+. So that would just mean humanity plus, which is all about sort of bettering the human, so better than human, or superhuman, or more than human, anything like that. And it just
Okay.
means sort of expanding human potential, human powers, basically through technology and science, like that. One of the jokes I say about transhumanism, if people say, what is it? I say, transhumanists are the people that want to live forever, even if they have to become robots to do it. So there's this sort of man-machine embracing of
Cyborg.
technology, cyborg.
You're being uploaded into a mainframe. Or,
Yeah, but
or-
it's not really fair that I say that because it puts too much emphasis on life extension. There's a lot of, transhumanists are really divided as to what the great task is. Is the great task for humanity to live forever? Is it to become smarter, which is what I thought for a while? Or is it to end suffering? And I eventually decided that the great task, for me anyway, was to end suffering. So I'm one of those kinds of transhumanists.
Yeah, because I personally, I'm not as much interested in personally living forever, but what I would like to see is humanity continue forever. I'd like to have a planet and an infrastructure that that my kids and their kids can go on forever. And that seems like a difficult task in itself, let alone an individual going on forever. So, but that's related to not having suffering, because wars and famine and those things that kill people, that's suffering.
Yeah, that's a big topic in transhumanism. What you're talking about, you're talking about catastrophic risk. And there's, I ended up putting on 10 conferences on transhumanism, and catastrophic risk was one of them. And there's a lot of different kinds. There's climate change. There's also the notion of unfriendly AI, which is we develop
The singularity, yeah.
Exactly, the singularity. We develop it, but it's unfriendly. and
I've seen the movie.
Oh, you have? The Kurzweil movie.
There's a lot of them,
Oh,
actually.
you've seen that?
There's a lot of
There's a
movies
lot of those
about
kinds
that.
of.
Her is one that delves into that topic. But anyhow,
There's a lot of great
science
movies.
fiction does a
Yeah.
lot with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a real thing, though. I mean, it's a real concern, right? We really don't know what we're creating with this this World Wide Web, all these supercomputers hooked up together.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not actually from a science background, and so I am not going to be inventing a super intelligent computer. So I found something that I could do that was useful, which is running this charity organization, which whatever, supports secular education and this kind of thing.
Right.
But I'm rooting for the singularity, because do you know the end goal of the singularity is to create a super intelligent, I guess you wouldn't call it a being, but a super intelligent entity that can solve problems like how to end aging or reverse aging, and how to end death, and basically how to, how humanity can go on living, like you said, that we don't seem to be able to solve these problems, but maybe a super intelligent entity could.
The question is, can a super intelligent technological entity keep us from blowing each other up?
Well, that would be wonderful.
I could see the singularities going like, no, we're not going to allow those to detonate, right? I don't know how that would work, but
I don't either. It's either them or the
save
aliens.
Us from ourselves, please.
The aliens coming and saving us. I'm not really sure. Yeah.
And I know you've written some books on that topic as well.
I've written 100+ essays on transhumanism and futurism. It's very related to futurism. It's a lot of I enjoyed it. I enjoy it because it's very imaginative, like trying to think about the future and try to think about what kind of future you want. I mean, some essays I wrote that are popular are why is the IQ of Ashkenazi Jews so high is one.
Yes, let's talk about that one, because my girlfriend is an Ashkenazi Jew. And I told her that was the title of one of your books, and she said, you better talk about that one, because she is very smart.
Well, I don't know.
So why are Ashkenazi
That's the most
Jews
popular
so smart?
article I ever wrote. I'm sure. I think about 500,000 people have read it. I think they're looking for ways that they can become smarter after reading it. But it's not really about that. It just talks about the Jewish people, and they've gotten like 1/3 of all Nobel Prizes.
That's incredible.
Which is really.
What are they, like 2% of the population?
That is exactly right. Yeah. So they're like they're doing very well. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just give you a couple of reasons why I want to say that I am not one of these people that thinks IQ is entirely genetic. I think that it's only half genetic or maybe even less. So I'm not one of these racist kind of people that thinks that IQ is
your
genetic.
brain is just like any other part of your body. You exercise it and it gets stronger. Right?
Exactly. It's like a muscle. Exactly. And I think the Jewish people have done certain things. I'll just give you a couple examples. This one's kind of amusing because I was raised Catholic. So like in the Middle Ages, what the Catholics would do is they'd find the smartest kid in the village and they'd say, you're going to become a priest. And they would teach that kid how to read, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And theoretically, he would have no children, right? And all the dumb people would have children.
Oh boy, that's idiocracy. That's
idiocracy. But what the Jewish people did was they found the smartest person and they would say, you're going to be a rabbi, and you're going to have 10 children.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things in Jewish history. Another example, I think it's 64.
So that is delving with the genetic aspect of
that. That is a genetic aspect.
Right.
I could give some more examples, but I could tell you why I think that it isn't entirely genetic.
Sure.
Well, because after I wrote that, I got all these letters from people who, there's actually the leader who says it's not entirely genetic is an Austrian named Heiner Rinderman. And he believes it's education that makes people smarter. And there's entire books written about smaller classrooms will make you smarter, will raise your IQ, and good teachers will raise your IQ. My daughter is an interesting example. She has dyslexia and audio processing disorder, and her IQ was rated at 85 when she was in 5th grade. And so we were told by the tester, don't expect too much. I think she can get through high school, maybe a couple years of junior college, something like that. But she has other skills. She's very disciplined. Anyway, she ended up getting the equivalent of 140 IQ on her SAT test.
Wow.
And she just graduated like 4 months ago from college with double major, biology, economics, got an award for the best economics student in the college, got some money for that, and was on the dean's list every quarter. So just because you get you're tested with an 85 IQ doesn't mean you're hopeless.
Wow, I didn't. That's remarkable. I imagine, yeah, you could move up a few notches, maybe get up to 100, you know. Hey, I'm average, you know.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yes.
Like this society, we could certainly benefit from more smart people, right? So I'm sure you have ideas how society then could organize itself better to encourage smart people that can make us more competitive and better at stuff. How do we do, I guess, that's
well, I've been an education writer for about 12 years for greatschools.org. So I do write about this. One of the top, I think the top nation in education is Finland in a certain way in terms of hours spent in the classroom and results. So, and they're big believers in small classroom sizes, things like that. Keeping the kids comfortable, the kids show up, they take their shoes off, put them by the fireplace. So whatever Finland is doing seems to work. I think class sizes are actually hugely
That's a big
important.
one, yeah. I imagine having, especially for high school age, not making them show up at 7 in the morning.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
You should have well, I don't know who the Department of Education is. It's not Betsy DeVos anymore, right? But,
no, it isn't.
But I kind of feel like part of government in the United States, we don't want people too smart, right? Because if people are too smart,
grim.
then they think
that's
that
grim, Ian.
Of
course not. No,
yeah.
No, I agree. Just keep them interested in warrior games.
Yeah, just smart enough to like show up and make your coffees for you, whatever, you know.
Yeah, don't make them so smart they can actually figure out which policies are best for them.
Yeah, or figure out a proper epistemology of knowing what's true.
Yeah.
Because right now, it seems like America doesn't know how to know what's true anymore. We can have various facts out there, alternate facts, and we're like, gee, I guess we get to just choose our own adventure, you know. But we don't really teach how to differentiate truth from falsehood.
I have 4 members in my family that are not only Trump voters, but QAnon supporters.
Oh my gosh!
I know. I'm so proud of them. No, only that I get to.
But you got to balance them out.
I get attention for that. Yeah. No, but
you weren't able to. With all your smarts, you can't seem to fix.
No,
them,
I don't get anywhere with them.
No.
I don't get any. They're full believers in whatever, Pizzagate, pedophilia, all of that.
I have a brother like that myself. Yeah.
But what you're talking about is critical thinking ability, and it's lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, as a couple of atheists, it seems to me like religion is sort of a way to kind of get the foot in the door of people believing things without reason, you know?
Well, that's true, because those 4 QAnon believers are also evangelical Christians.
Yeah.
So it's
they're told not to question, not to think, right? Like
yes.
They're literally told, don't even
Yes.
think. If that doesn't make sense, that's because you're not smart enough. Don't you? That's the way that's Satan trying to make you think, you know, like not
Yes.
believing evolution, for instance, right? I mean,
Yes.
duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's religion that keeps people from believing evolution.
Yeah. They're not interested in rationality. They're interested actually in apocalyptic thinking, which isn't good for the rest of us, you know.
Yeah, because they're not going to really have long-range plans. They're not going to run the world in such a way.
They're kind of rooting for it because they want the rapture.
The rapture is not an exit strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think our time is almost used up here. We're down to the last couple of minutes here. Anything I've forgotten to talk about that you wanted to share with the folks here?
I could tell you that after I closed the Comedy Institute, due to that heat problem that we're not going to talk about anymore, I had 2 kids, 2 daughters, plus I was the sperm donor to a lesbian friend, so she had a son.
Oh, wow.
And so I started 2 preschools, and I completely got out of the Comedy Institute business, and I ran 2 preschools for a while. And I ran them for 5 years, and they drove me crazy, and then we moved to Costa Rica for a year, which I totally recommend. It was so much fun.
So everybody out there, move to Costa Rica for a year.
Yes, it was awesome. Moved to Monteverde up in the cloud forest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, maybe start with a vacation there.
Yes.
Check it out. Check out the cloud
I was
forest,
the only person in my family, though, who had fun. We moved into a house that was called Casa de Scorpio, and I ended up killing 225 scorpions in the house.
Really? Wow, it's like the Scorpio massacre.
Yeah, I got stung. My kids got stung.
Oh my gosh.
It was so much fun.
It was fun.
It was different.
Well, I guess we can assume they weren't fatal.
No, they're Costa Ricans, so they're like kind of, they sting, but they're kind of nonviolent. They're kind of peaceful.
Oh, okay, pacifist scorpions.
Exactly.
Just enough to tell you to leave them alone, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, and that's actually, if anybody wants a tip for like improving your IQ, travel is supposed to be very good for you.
Cool. Well, I'm heading to London next week. So.
Are you really?
Yeah. My IQ is going to go up at least several points. Next
London
week.
is awesome. I was there actually 2 months ago.
Awesome.
It's pretty great.
Cool. Well, this has been quite an interesting conversation. One of the most wide-ranging ones I've had of this. This is show number 70. Yeah, hitting on everything: living forever, atheism, and orphanages, and comedy.
We didn't even talk about sex bots. That was my most popular article. It was called.
Can people look that one up then?
Yeah.
Okay. Hank Pellissier.
The sex bots are coming, and we will come with them.
That's good. I like that. Well, folks, that's Hank Pellissier. That's Hank for you. You can tell he started a comedy institute, but comedy and intelligence are certainly intertwined. You know, to be a Jon Stewart, you have to know the topic to make fun of it.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that you have those passions. That's one of your passions. You know.
Right. I think writing jokes is extremely hard, and I think another thing to keeping your brain intact is writing anything at all, because I think writing is really difficult. And if you don't want to get dementia, one step you can take is to try to be a writer.
Okay, well, I'll get right on it.
Okay.
Okay, looks like that's our time. So thanks so much for being on the show there, Hank. I really appreciate it. And we should put up, Humanist Global Charity, .charity. People can contribute to that and learn about all the great stuff that they're doing over there. So for our outro music, we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to play a song from one of the Hyena Comedy Institute performances. This is going to be Pliny and Renee Keep doing Country is Dumb. All right, so thanks everybody for watching Wavelength. Remember, we're not against them, we're a forum. Good night.
From Kentucky, where we pretend we're farming in the mall, and cowboys ride in cars and waste their lives in bars, and our music's still the biggest joke of all. Country is dumb, country is dumb. You only got 3 chords to work with, number 1. And the songs all ramble on about women and drinking and trucks and guns. Well, all I've got to say is country is dumb. Well, they brag about hospitality here in Nashville. They give the spotlight to the common man.